Hey guys, so today what we're going to be doing, we're analyzing the 2018 Senate results. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. We're going to go through the 7 o'clock hour, then the 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and see what states were called at that time. So what we're going to do, we're going back to a blank map. For a state that was did not switch parties and is safe, I'm going to put that in the safe column. And then, but if it was a state that actually switched over, I will put it like that. So hopefully you kind of get what I mean there. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be going through the 7th hour first. So Vermont and Virginia, of course, going to their incumbents. And those were the main two. I don't believe... Oh yeah, Indiana also closed at that time. Now, it wasn't called at that time, so we're not going to fill it in at this point in time. So now let's go through the 7:30 hour. West Virginia, I don't think they called it at the poll closing time. Ohio, I don't think they called it either. I think they called it, 30 minutes to an hour later, depending on the network. Those were the two states that closed then. And then for the 8 o'clock hour, Maine went to the Democrats. There we go. With its incumbent independent. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey. Actually, New Jersey didn't go to the Democrats at poll closing time, so we need to undo that one. Pennsylvania, I believe they called it at the poll closing time. If not, then maybe not. And then for Mississippi, they called that one. I think CNN and a few other networks didn't call it, but most networks did call Mississippi at the poll closing time. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Then we go into the 8:30 hour. Arkansas doesn't have a poll closing, so now let's go through the 9 o'clock hour. Nebraska and Wyoming both go to the Republicans. For the Democrats, New York was called. Minnesota, the special election. I think they called Wisconsin and Michigan at poll closing time. Don't quote me on that. New Mexico they called, and yeah, that was pretty much it. It was about this time that West Virginia, Ohio went to the Democrats. Indiana was the first flip to go to the Republicans. They called that one. And I also believe they called Tennessee not that much after that. Okay, and then 10 o'clock rolls around. New Jersey goes to the Democrats, and Utah goes to the Republicans. And that was pretty much it. I don't believe there were many others. I think Missouri was called at about 11 o'clock, so that's where we're going to go next. Also, Texas was called at about 11, so those two called it maybe a bit before 11. Texas and Missouri were the ones that put the GOP over the top. Washington, Oregon, Hawaii. Washington, California, Hawaii, all going to their Democratic incumbents handedly. North Dakota, actually at about 10 o'clock, they called that one for Republicans. So then there were a few states left. They called Nevada really late, and Montana pretty late. They called Montana maybe about 12 or 1, maybe 2, 3. And then Nevada they called maybe a bit before Montana, so that's the first flip for the Democrats. Okay, so I forgot to do those ones, so there we go. So then we had a few left. Florida, that was called after... Actually, it was Arizona that was called first. Arizona calling it a few days after the election. And then Florida was called for Rick Scott. And then on the runoff, the Republicans won in Mississippi. So that's pretty much the results going through hour by hour. Maybe I got a few wrong, but hopefully not. Got a few wrong in the when they called it, but nothing wrong in what state went to either political party. A few notes. North Dakota, that went handedly to the Republicans, a very easy flip for them. Nevada, Arizona, less easy flips for the Democrats, but they were still able to gain both of those seats. That's pretty much the only bright spot for Democrats in the Senate. One thing I want to note, if we look, many of these incumbent Blue Dog Democrats just withered away. Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota got blown out. Clay McCaskill, Democratic incumbent Blue Dog Democrat in Missouri, conservative Democrat, got blown out. Joe Donnelly got demolished in Indiana. Phil Bredesen got demolished in Tennessee. And Bill Nelson only lost by the tiniest of tiniest margins, but it was much closer than it was expected to be. Now, all these Blue Dog Democrats, why they lost, in my mind, and that this is why. Why they lost, they pissed off their base. Indiana incumbent Democrat, Blue Dog Democrat, conservative Democrat Joe Donnelly ran an ad pissing off all his voters. They stayed home or voted third party. Actually, they didn't vote third party, they just stayed home, allowing the Republican Mike Braun to win. These conservative Democrats, they think that by being conservative, they will win over Republicans. But Republicans, do they want someone who votes with Trump 50% of the time, like Donnelly does, or someone who votes with him 99% of the time, probably like Mike Braun does? They would want someone who votes with him 99% of the time. And while you're doing that, you're not getting any Republican voters because they want the more conservative candidate than you. And while doing that, you're pissing off your liberal voters in the state of Indiana. Same thing with Clay McCaskill in Missouri. Same thing with Phil Bredesen in Tennessee. Same thing with Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota. They all pissed off their base. Now, the one exception to this rule, Blue Dog Democrat, conservative Democrat Kristen Sinema was able to win in the state of Arizona. That is something also to note. So not all bad news for conservative Democrats, but I just do not understand why you run conservative Democrat and as a moderate, because you just piss off your base. Like, that's all you do. Like, I really don't understand, but and that's how Republicans are picking up these Trump country seats, because your Democrats are acting like Trump, but Republicans are already on the Republican side, and while you do, you piss off your own voters. Like, it makes no sense. But anyway, one exception to that rule is Kristen Sinema. But yeah, that's the main gist of it. Also, if we look at Beto O'Rourke in Texas, he kept it closer than Heitkamp in North Dakota, McCaskill in Missouri, Donnelly in Indiana, Bredesen in Tennessee. All of these races were more going to the GOP than Texas went to Ted Cruz. That shows that you do need to run strong candidates in these red states. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.